Welcome everyone to episode 4 of Mental Health for Me, series 5. Today I want to talk about work and mental health. Yeah. Well, where do I start? um, Work is affected in a big way with my mental health. Years ago, before I went through therapy, it was the customers, it was some of the people who live here, the way they treated me, the way they talked to me, the way they interacted with me, the work itself. Um, there was a lot of anxiety issues that I lost loads of sleep over, quite a lot, and I was just on like automatic pilot through them days, taking each day as it comes, waking up, going to work, blah blah blah. That's the way I went. And then I I always tried to plan a day at a time. I couldn't plan more than one day or a week. I take it a day at a time so I could actually focus, which was still tricky. I was the kind of person to, let's just say, if I wanted to go out anywhere, um, get on the bus somewhere, go to Folkestone, go to Canterbury, something like that, that was okay. But then the negativity coming, thinking, what happens if the bus breaks down? What happens if I get bullied on the bus? What happens if I lose a bus ticket? But then them negatives used to become reality. Not in reality. In my mind, that was a reality, not all negativity. So I never used to go out, and well, I did, but it was a struggle. The negativity used to overpower me quite a lot. Um, when I used to wake up in the morning feeling happy, I was concerned because always thinking that something's going to knock me down and make me in a bad mood. So I used to spend the rest of the day in a bit of a bad mood because I used to think it was going to happen. Never did. Well, 99% of the time, never did. But that didn't stop me thinking that. And I can't believe that I used to think like that. You know, it was like I was projecting negativity. So I became negative, became that kind of person. I used to snap a lot when I couldn't control something, when things, but I used to apologise straight away. When I used to upset people, I was more upset than the person who was upset. Upset, you know. Yeah, it stems back from Alton Towers, I suppose, where my friendship was misused, my trust was misused, because I was a good person, kind person. People used to use it, misuse my trust and stuff, and it happens to everyone, doesn't it? Really, you get friends, and you get friends who aren't really friends. Here it's a toxic environment at times, and you're working with people um, who you wouldn't really associate yourself with, but because you're here, you have to. And different personalities, different people who it's I don't want to get into that conversation really, but work was tricky because I couldn't really trust anyone. Um, it's actually hard to think back to what I was like, which is a good thing. But how am I now? Well, I take people as they come, and if people want to dig their own graves or be irritating little things, then let them do it because they can dig their own grave. You do come across, narcissistic people in life and people who alpha males who want to rule the world. But I've learned that they got their own comeuppance. They things. happen to them that makes you giggle kind of thing. You're thinking, yeah, there you go. That's knocked you down a peg or two, hasn't it? But I've learned not to take things personally. Going back to a little bit of therapy again, learning about people, people who've got anger problems, they try and project it onto other people. So if I was in the same room with someone who is so angry, people must be soaked up with the anger and they become angry themselves. I've learned to cope with not letting it soak into me, not letting it sink into me, not letting me gain that negativity. That's what I'm learning at the moment. It's not easy. It's the hardest thing to learn because people can be people and people can be physically violent or verbally violent or just irritating. And it happens. Every job you go to, every walk of life, you're going to get it. You're going to get it. But it's how you deal with it. I can't just snap my fingers and it'll all be okay. It's, you know. So work here is that kind of thing. People come and go, different personalities. I could tell you a few stories that make your hair curl, But yeah, where I am at the moment, I'm coping, but I would like to move on and get my own place and deal with life. It comes to the point where I'd rather cope with the stress of paying bills and be here where I am, working where I am, But every day I'm still taking it as it comes, going to work, do my thing, come back, do my thing, Luckily, YouTube and podcast and this kind of thing keeps me sane. If I haven't got this, I don't know where I'd be. I'll get into that in another episode. How social media has helped me, positive and negatives, but more positive. So yeah. What about your work environment? Do you work in places where there can be toxic people? Do you work in a place where it's the most heavenly thing ever? Even Alton Towers, which was the most wonderful job I've ever had, there were still negative people there and toxic people there, but you could escape it. You could get away from it. You didn't have to live in the same place, and you didn't. You just glanced at them once and walked away. Here you can't. So it's getting people to understand that, which is a tricky point, because it's where I am. It's an unusual kind of place. Anyway, that's enough of that. Don't want to get into that. How can I make it better? Well, the more I'm coping with it, the more I'm letting people dig their own graves, the more that it's like, you know what, I'm here to do my job. If someone wants to dig about and do silly things, let them do it and they'll get, warning, whatever, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. That's the way I'm trying to deal with it, not letting their negativity sink into me, not letting their problems soak into me kind of thing. I've got my own issues, my own life to lead, That's the way that I'm trying to deal with it. And of course, therapy is helping as well, of course, counselling, you know what I mean, What every day is a learning curve. Every day is a learning curve. It's the hurdles again, which I mentioned before. There's so many hurdles in life. You're never ever going to get to the end. You're going to keep finding, But it's not knowing what's around the corner, To me now that's exciting. Before it was scary. Now it's like I'm excited to move on and eventually see what my next chapter of life's going to be. I'm excited about the uncertainty. It's just completely opposite of what I used to be. It doesn't scare me, or the future doesn't scare me. It does not scare me one bit. I'm just, it's a challenge. It's an adventure. But it's getting that to the next step, the next chapter, which is just irritating me a bit. I want to get there, kind of thing. But yeah, so that's like work and anxiety or mental health, and yeah. And of course, with diabetes type 2 now in the picture, it's trickier because things are in my face, the crappy food is in my face a lot, and I've got to walk away from it, which I can do. But with me anxiety, as I mentioned in the previous episodes, it's tricky because eating junk food, it's just that kind of stuff, is a no-no for me, even though I've delved a little bit into it. But it's the balance of comfort eating and not comfort eating. You know what I mean? So if you want to hear more about that, there's an episode a few episodes ago, we're all talking about that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I could go in more into depth, but I don't want to bore you. I don't want to keep repeating myself, which I am doing without realizing. So yeah, I'm trying to edit these as least as I can, so it's more genuine. More. You'll see because the time on the clock will jump quite a bit. Any edits, you'll soon tell. Okay, so that's that one. If you know someone who might need help, the GP, therapist, or educate, go to websites, research. I'm not here to help people, I'm here to give my story. But I've been through the right channels, therapists, doctors, GPs and stuff to get this far, and I've still got a long way to go. So okay, if you want to subscribe, please do. If you want to like, comment, I'm going to do a comment episode at the end where I will reply to your comments, read comments, any questions. I can try and answer the best I can. And yeah, so just put your questions in. And I've got a podcast, Mental Health Diary, which I'll link below as well, which is still quite new. By the time this comes up, there should be a few episodes already. So yeah, let me know what you think. And I'll catch you next week. Till then, little pips, take it easy and be safe. Be there for your friends, because they could be there for you in the future.